All right.
Yeah, I subscribed to your channel, so now I get all your notifications.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I do too.
this
I
is
think.
supposed to be like a dummy account. Like, I don't know.
I
Oh,
think
so
I
now I
subscribe to
see
it
that
too.
there's two of you, Michael. That's weird.
I know. I don't know what the deal is.
Well,
Can
just
somebody
double the
pull this up
fun.
on the phone? Let me see if it's working, because I'm not gonna start until I know we sound good.
Oh, okay. Are you pulling it up?
Who?
Yeah, hold on.
I was like, no, I'm on. Somebody. I can put it up here. What the hell?
All
Ooh,
right.
ooh, ooh. Yeah, I put the Coven soundtrack on. I was like, might as well.
Da-da-da, da-da. That one?
Yeah, I put the Coven soundtrack on.
Okay.
No, you went away.
All right. All right. We sound good.
Do we? We just can't hear each other. We
All
still do.
right.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Question 1.
Well, first say what we're
Uno.
doing.
Oh, this is AHS Coven. Unanswered questions / theories / rants / opinions / etc.
Etc.
Number 1. What the fuck is up with Zoe's powers? That's just so unique and so random. Like, what was the point? What was the purpose behind her power?
Because they wanted to show sexy.
I mean, was it just the writers want to do something
Yeah.
like risque or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, I'm sure. But there was also
Probably.
a comment later on in the season that said something about death by vagina.
So
Murder was done an older
she,
witch.
I mean, does that mean like she's infertile or?
I
Oh, I
thought
would
about
think
that.
so.
Like,
Yeah,
how's she ever gonna have babies?
I would think she's. I would think she's sterile because she can't have sex.
She can't carry on her bloodline. Because I thought
Exactly.
about that when her mom told her, I'm so sorry, we never told you your grandmother had the same affliction. Now, her grandmother must have had a different power. It must not have been the same power. She must have just been a witch
Yeah,
as
that's the grandmother she was talking about.
well. Right. Her grandmother must have just been a witch as well. She must not have had the same power
Yeah.
because how would the bloodline have carried?
So
I
it
don't like.
can skip generations.
Oh, anything can skip generations
Because
if it's
Zoe was like the
hereditary.
her
Sure.
only one who. I mean, we knew nothing about Nan, and we still don't.
I don't
She
see the
didn't even
hype
have a
around
last
Nan. I'm
name.
sorry. I really don't see the hype around Nan.
I mean, she didn't even. They didn't even give her a last name.
Haha. Did it go away?
No.
It's still there.
Forget it. It's gonna now. Now it's blocked for me. It's like I blocked a user.
You blocked yourself.
No, that's the other stuff. That's the twin. I don't want
Twin.
him around.
The evil twin.
That's the evil twin.
I
What the hell?
mean, like Zoe's power. So I mean,
Oh,
could she have like went to a doctor and got like pregnant the artificial way? Like they didn't even explain that. It's just like her bloodline, I guess, is gone.
figured it out. Sorry.
Oh yeah, it went away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would have to be the only way. She would have to have some kind of artificial insemination. But even then, is that possible? Because
The
well,
baby's
I don't know, because we don't know the whole theory of like how the sex actually kills. We don't know if it has to do with like the actual release of the orgasm or the release of the fluids, like her fluids in general, because it's not just orgasm where the fluids release. So is it that in general, or is
correct.
it just like
The
venom type of
thrusting,
thing?
the insertion.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So like if they were to do like in vitro, would that like not work?
Killed the doctor.
Right, kill the doctor or something.
Possibly.
Um,
What?
This
There's
next,
a whole lot of other questions
What about when
because
she has a C-section?
wait, what, Michael?
If she can actually carry the baby, wouldn't she have to have a C-section?
yeah, because would she kill the baby when it came out?
Yeah.
I like him. So it was stupid.
That's one we'll definitely never get answers to. I know that for a
No,
fact. They're
it
never
was
going to
just
visit
But it's
that.
just so
yeah.
weird and random. Like that's the
It
most
was.
random.
Here's what I'll say. I'll get myself off of minute one. Coven. It was interesting for me because Coven changed the entire tone of American Horror Story, and I didn't like the tone when they changed it. And so a lot of these things that we saw early on in Coven were them making a very conscious effort to change the entire artistic tone of the show. They wanted more risque sex kind of stuff in there. They wanted the campiness in there. They wanted the the 80s horror film type of feel to it in there. But it wasn't like it was forced. The first like 4 episodes, the new tone was really forced, and that's why he's finally season. So I think that's part of what was going on with Zoe is they were trying to establish a tone. They were trying to establish, what was going on with, the feels and which demographic that they were appealing to. And so they used this teenage risque sex kind of thing to do it. And that's all it was. Probably.
Yeah, probably to appeal to younger demographic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this next question. Cordelia, did Fiona always know she was like the Supreme?
Did Fiona always know?
Yeah.
Or Cordelia?
Fiona always
Cordelia did not know.
wanted to be the Supreme.
But Cordelia didn't know at all.
Yeah, like,
Cordelia
but did
was,
Fiona know? I mean, okay, the way they made it sound at the end was that Fiona knew all along that Cordelia was the Supreme, pretty much. But at the same time, like,
because she wouldn't have been killing everybody off to try and
exactly. So I'm like, that's completely different. Like, which is.
Yeah, I feel like at one point, as bloodthirsty as she seemed for her youth, she would have even tried maybe to kill off her daughter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So she had to have like no clue.
Yeah, I thought it was very well established at the end when she was shocked that she became the Supreme, but she had no clue. It was incredibly just woke. She was like, what?
I didn't really catch that.
No, I said Cordelia. It was very. The show made it very apparent that she didn't know. But at the end, when they were doing the Seven Wonders, and Cordelia started doing the Seven Wonders well, she was woke. She was shocked by she was actually participating in all that. Did you hear me? Hello?
We can only hear you.
Lord, I don't know what's wrong with this computer. I'll throw it out the window.
No, don't do that. Then you have nothing.
All right. Fiona straight up aged that doctor guy to death. Like, do you remember that scene? Like, she just fucking turned him into a freaking skeleton-looking dummy thing. Like, what the fuck is up with that power that never was used again?
Yeah, if she could do that to, like, absorb some youth, even temporarily, why wouldn't she do that again? And why wouldn't she do it to perhaps someone younger to get that youth?
Yeah, and that whole power was never used again.
Right. Maybe she realized it was worthless because it was going to do her no good because she was sick.
I don't know. I mean, who knows?
What was the question?
That doctor at the first.
Let me put my headphones in.
There you go.
Aha.
You got a mic on your headphones?
Yeah. Now go ahead, Kenny. Say it again.
Okay, so the doctor from the first episode, like, She straight up aged him to death. Like, that power was never used again. Like, she absorbed all of his youth. Like, none of that power was used again. Like, what up with that?
Hold on.
Where is
Again, tone.
La, 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 la. While we wait. La, 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 la. La 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 la.
God damn it.
Oh, damn it. He came back too quick.
Who?
You.
Well, I'll go away again.
No, I was going to play the theme.
Oh.
All right.
These are all in a knot. Go ahead and play the theme. These are in a knot. I had to get the old iPhone headphones out because my computer doesn't have a lightning port.
Well, that means you have an Apple, and I'm sorry.
I don't have an Apple laptop. I'm too damn broke for that. I have thousands of dollars in medical copays every friggin' month now.
AHS bills.
Yeah, my January was $1,700 in copays. $1,700 in copays.
Well, damn. So the question was, why the fuck did Fiona, or how the fuck did she absorb that doctor's youth in the first episode? Turned him into an old ass skeleton, dead, gonzo, gone.
Tone.
Why the
Tone.
fuck? Why did she never use that again? Like,
I know. It's all like I said, those early episodes. Hold on. Where's the fuck? Oh, hello?
Hello.
How was that?
hello.
That's better.
Was it?
Yes.
How's that?
Really good.
Is it really good? Okay. So like I said, the first few episodes of Coven was everything was kind of mismatched because they were trying to establish tone. Like when Fiona did go and kill that doctor and he turned into that, Indiana Jones looking kind of mummified thing.
Yeah.
That was again to play to the campiness of like the 80s crowd, that play the old campiness of 80s horror films. I mean, everything was a reference to something.
All right.
They definitely do. They definitely do for horror fans. Throw a lot of Easter in all the time.
There's also Ryan Murphy also said that when he writes a particular season, they go after very, very particular genres and do that genre for that season. There's an overall one genre that they're trying to do, and then like they spice in other stuff here and there. But there's always one theme genre that they're doing, and I think Coven's was more the 80s kind of genre that they were doing, because Coven was really campy.
Yeah, it really was.
Why was it never touched base on, like, who was Cordelia's father and who was Fiona's late husband?
Yeah, they vaguely mention it. They never really mention it again or pick it up again.
So
Yeah,
Cordelia's father wasn't shit either?
Well, he wasn't. He wasn't a witch. Who took that? Oh, you fuckers! Here's no. Remember, the men aren't important in those women's lives. So the men are insignificant. The men just provide the semen to provide the heirs, to provide the child. It's women in the whole witches thing that are the superior race.
Right.
So if Cordelia, like Cordelia's husband, if Fiona's husband, Cordelia's father, wasn't anything warlocky or witchy or anything, he was disposable.
So, like, she didn't have a father growing up. Like, was he an asshole then? Like, why would... That was never really...
No, he's probably
talked
just
about.
insignificant.
He might have been a really great guy, but...
Yeah, he's just insignificant.
To everybody, to Fiona was disposable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even her own daughter at one point, was disposable to her.
Yep. But more so, the men in there are just not even thought of.
Well, right, and we find that out obviously much more in Apocalypse too.
Yeah.
Once they introduce the warlocks with that whole dialogue with,
Yeah,
Myrtle
and it's
and
the testosterone and blah 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 blah. Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of warlocks, remember like we did not like the when Apocalypse came out, like the whole Facebook group and all that, like a bunch of people were like, "It can't be warlocks! It can't be warlocks!" Like, what are they actually going to do that? Well, in the last episode of Coven, Myrtle mentioned warlocks. She said that Leonardo da Vinci was one.
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of famous men that were on the pictures and stuff, and down in the little living area of that room.
So, I mean, that was mentioned in Coven. Anyways, Queenie, can she heal the people that she uses her power on?
I had that question too. I don't think so.
Well, she stabbed Madison with a fucking fork in her hand, and then that was just gone.
I saw that too. I was going to mention that because right after she does that, when she introduces, that she's a human voodoo doll, and she walks away from the table, Nan says, "Take a walk," and she walks away. Then all of a sudden, sorry, that's my text messages.
Oh,
Yes, my text messages are the Coven theme. But yeah, then all of a sudden her hand was like perfectly normal when she picks up the phone and says, "Do you want to go to a frat party with me? Or do you have anything to wear?"
So, like, if her power is useless, then if, like, it heals up, like, you know what I mean?
I think that was just a plot hole. I think they just had, it was probably...
Yeah, because she can kill. She can kill that way. So when she slash her throat, and the person's throat.
Robot.
Yeah, really. Well, God. I mean, yeah, when she was going in on Ramona, like, that shit didn't heal.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess that can be considered a plot hole, I guess. I don't.
Yeah.
Nan said Zoe would find a strange and unexpected love. So, that bitch predicts the future? I thought she was just clairvoyant.
Who?
Nan. I thought about that too when Nan said that to her, because having rewatched it, we already knew what to expect. And then, yeah, Nan told her she was going to find a new and unexpected love. And suddenly, but I guess maybe that comes along with it. It's not just that they can read minds, and maybe they can read the future too.
Well, then if she can read the future, she should have fucking, you know what I mean? Like, it should have been used more than once.
Well, and there's a lot of shit she should have seen coming.
Right. Hence her drowning in the fucking bathtub.
Wait. Let's look back at this. Because was Nan clairvoyant, or could she just hear what the current thought was?
Well,
see, I thought she could just hear what people are thinking right now in the room.
Well, they never really say specifically, except for the fact that Madison says, "We get it, bitch. You're clairvoyant."
Yeah, that's true. That one statement. But Nan never displayed any particular piece of clairvoyancy. It was always this person's saying this person's thinking this.
Like she always like, oh, they talk too much or something. And she had to wear headphones.
Mm-hmm. Because she kept hearing him.
Well, if you think about, she heard, what was it? Luke. When Luke was in the hospital and she found out about his mother, Luke was in the coma or whatever it was a coma, wasn't it, that he was in?
Yeah.
But how, I don't know, maybe Luke being in the coma, he touched into some supernatural something, was able to tell her in the moment, or was it a memory that he suddenly had? Well, no, because he would have known beforehand.
He was talking to her, like he was straight up talking to her, like, say this to my mom, like.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. He was telling her in his head when he was laying there in a coma.
Hell, Nan even heard Madison's heart murmuring and was like, oh, it's gone. So she could hear, like she could have been able to detect that.
Mm-hmm. It's just like supersonic hearing.
What the fuck is up with Nan? Like
when Madison was gone the first time, when she died the first time, Nan kept saying, I can't hear her anymore. I can't hear her anymore. So.
All right. None of the nurses came running in when What's His Puss died.
That
Yeah,
happened so many times on TV shows. Freaking alarms going off, and nobody's in the hospital. And I hate it. I absolutely hated the hospital in Coven, because what was that Alice in Wonderland, Fantasyland bullshit that was present in that hospital? It was like some weird haunted house. It's supposed to be a normal hospital. I don't know why that artistic choice was made.
Like, literally, like, okay, she's in the room, closes the door. The guy has fucking died, point blank, period. Like, none of the nurses came running in, was like, oh, who are you? Like, why didn't you say anything? You know what I mean? Like,
well, what was when she went in to go talk to that woman who delivered that baby?
Yeah,
there was nobody in the hallways. There was nobody in the rooms. It looked like apocalyptic.
There was patience in the hallways because she saw that really weird, creepy guy in the diaper just standing there.
Yeah, and the lights were flickering. It was all dark, and
there was like no staff anywhere.
Yeah, it's weird.
The whole time
so was that Fiona's dream that she was having? Some vision she was having? Is that what we were supposed to take from that?
I don't know, but I'm gonna tell y'all this. It's fucking weird because she saw the hooded figure, which we thought, it was, supposed to be Myrtle, according to Fiona and what have you. We found out later that was one of the witch hunter guys, whatever. Why was he at the hospital, like lurking in the shadows? Like, for what reason?
I know. I don't understand the whole hospital thing.
Maybe they were just there to keep an eye on her. Maybe they just wanted to make sure that she really was blind. Who knows?
Maybe, yeah.
Because the whole reason they blinded her was to bring her closer to Hank.
Okay, when Zoe and Madison resurrected Kyle, did they sell their souls pretty much? I didn't write verbatim what they said, but they pretty much like vowed to whatever.
Now, everybody always brings up the whole Montgomery thing with the Frankenstein thing, and that's the connection because Dr. Montgomery had done that, and then Madison did that with Kyle. Well, Madison and Zoe did it, and it didn't work until after Zoe went back.
Well, Misty brought him back.
Well, no, Zoe went back and gave him a kiss, and that's when he woke up after they had put him together, and that's when she took him to Misty.
I thought Misty was just walking around, and then she...
No, they were in the car, and Misty...
Oh, yeah, they brought him in the car, yeah.
Misty just appeared in the car because she said she had heard her call.
So Zoe resurrected Kyle.
Zoe resurrected Kyle.
Yes, that was one of the 7 wonders that she performed early. They even talked about that in the end.
Yeah, because Zoe had already done it. Was supposed to be the Supreme when they had originally written out the script, and they actually changed it last minute because I don't remember exactly what it was, but they changed it last minute because of whatever reason it was, and
Taissa can't act.
Well.
Sorry.
But then they changed it, and I think it was more for shock value at that point because they changed it during filming to make Cordelia the Supreme.
How is that shock value? That was the most obvious choice.
I think it wouldn't have made sense though if they would have chose Zoe. Only for the fact of Fiona. Like, why would Fiona want? Like, she wouldn't have. That last scene where Fiona was coming to kill the Supreme, and then she couldn't do it because it was her daughter. I feel like if it were Zoe, like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, that's why I'm sure there was some more rewriting and some changes made after they decided.
Again, on my Coven soapbox, the reason why I don't like this season so much, everybody talks about, I have a love-hate relationship with Coven because some of my all-time favorite American Horror Story characters of all time come out of Coven. But the story and the whole pacing and the whole design of Coven was all over the map. It was like because they couldn't figure out what kind of tone they wanted to establish with them.
So many plots going on at one time.
Yeah, it is the zombie attack. Oh Lord, don't get me started.
Why? Exactly. Why?
Oh God.
Yeah, that whole zombie attack threw me.
It looked like somebody was filming something at Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights.
Well, and then again, that goes back to what you were saying with the whole campiness.
Yeah.
Like, did they just throw that in for horror?
Were they doing Coven that way? When did Scream Queen season 1 come out? The year after Coven during Freak Show?
It was the same year as Hotel.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say maybe they were trying to gauge an audience's reaction on a show with that kind of tone.
Maybe.
Okay. Again, let's bring up the zombies. Then, like, the neighbors didn't. I mean, besides Nuke, like nobody, the front yard, like nobody around the area was like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
The zombies.
Granted, it was Halloween, but I mean,
the zombies have to be one of the stupidest things of all the seasons put together. It was. I almost checked out of Coven during those 2 weeks. I was like, "Are you Zoe running around with a freaking chainsaw?" And I was like, "Give me a break. Give me." Yeah. The only good part about that whole thing was Kathy Bates and what's her face in the house and their kind of relationship in the house that was going on. But everybody else didn't think. I'm like, please let Nan die. Somebody kill her off, please.
Oh, I like the Nan.
Oh God, I love Jimmy Brewer, and I think Jimmy Brewer stands for a lot of stuff, and she's like really, really huge in the communities that she supports. But for some reason, and I don't know why, and Lord, the community is going to come down on me so hard on this, but I thought her Nan in both seasons, especially in Apocalypse, but in both seasons was absolutely terrible. All the other roles that she's done have been great. I thought her Nan was awful, god awful. I cringed every time she was on the screen. There's something about that weirdness that they did with her, with the kind of innocence, but the little devilish behind her, that Jamie Brewer just couldn't pull off. It was anyway, that's my rant. Sorry. Really bad, really, really bad with her.
All right, what the fuck is the Axeman? Like I get it. Like he was a ghost.
No, yes, that actually was very interesting.
I like that they threw that in only because it was just like Marie and Delphine. Like that was actually real New Orleans like terror that happened. That was a real American horror story.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep, he was a real actor.
He became a ghost.
Correct.
And then Zoe
weird.
Zoe brought him back. Yeah. When they did the seance, they invite, because remember, supposedly with a Ouija board, isn't it when you use a Ouija board, you open the door for spirits to come through.
Right.
And then that spirit come through in a house that is filled with magic, filled with everything. And so there's some weird, I forget how they explained it, but there was some weirdness that allowed him to return to the mortal living because of what those girls had done during that seance.
He returned to the mortal living because he was given his release, because Zoe promised him his release.
That's right. Zoe promised him. Yeah. Yes.
And then he was going to kill Cordelia if they didn't give him his release. And they found the book. Zoe found the book, and the book just magically told her where it was at, what spell.
Yeah. So if the accident would have killed Cordelia, then Fiona would have... What?
Flourished, maybe.
Anyway,
which if I don't think she would have flourished. Wouldn't the next Rising Supreme have flourished?
Mallory.
Yeah, exactly. Because it would be Mallory.
Yeah, but was she? Well, yeah, she would have been born already.
Yes, yeah, they're the same age as like Zoe and them. She. I don't remember. Yeah, it was after Coven, so she would have showed up at the Coven house sometime shortly after Cordelia's death. And she would have been the Rising Supreme, and Fiona would have faded away.
Would she have shown up? Because the whole reason she showed up was because Cordelia opened the doors.
It's true. That is true. But I think that the fact that does she have to be in the house for her to rise, or just that she's alive and rising?
Yeah, I think just being alive and rising. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because then they know, even if they don't find her, they know that there's another one out there, and it's not Fiona.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I think once the Supreme has run their course, they've run their course. I don't think it has anything to do with the new Supreme.
What the fuck what the fuck is up with Kyle's character? Like, why?
Give Evan Peters some time off after he carried Asylum.
Well, you know what it was is they were trying to give him a more like a little bit of an easier, nice guy character.
Yeah. Yeah, that was and how little he was in the show.
But it was still supposedly a murderer, and
I get it. Like, he was traumatized, you know, because I mean, you know, he died, he blew up, and whatever. Why was he so like Frankenstein? Like they resurrect other people. They resurrect other people, and like Myrtle wasn't like Kyle.
Because they wanted the Frankenstein character. It goes back to that whole horror kind of genre thing that they were you know, it was such a potpourri of crap that they were trying to do in the beginning of Coven. They wanted to do the whole resurrection scene with Kyle. They wanted to put him back together. They wanted to have that whole shock value of doing all that. They wanted to have their little cute little scenes where about the tattoos and things like that, without connecting all the dots and making it make sense in the universe.
Do that Montgomery tie for the fans.
Yep.
And for whatever else they're going to tie it in with later, possibly.
But the fact that Kyle wasn't even around during Apocalypse, that was more upsetting than trying to figure out Kyle right now.
Right, like where the fuck was he? Like that was Zoe's storyline.
They like gave her love for Peter's Mutt and Jeff, but they didn't give him Kyle. I mean, come on.
Exactly. Don't get me started on that.
Oh, girl, wait till I get on that rampage.
Okay.
Yeah, with that whole thing, I keep telling myself there has to be a reason Kyle wasn't there, and they're going to explain it later. Well, I don't
even if they didn't have a reason. Even if they didn't have a reason, I think they will create a reason because of the fan backlash around it.
Exactly.
I would have much rather had an explanation. Kyle is off doing this, or he's doing this, which even if they gave us an explanation,
Kyle
it still
didn't
wouldn't have made sense because he was supposed to be guarding the Coven. He was supposed to be protecting.
Exactly. That was the whole reason.
And what the fuck happened with that baby, Marie Laveau's baby, who became
the bull? She said your bulldog, didn't she, or your pit bull?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Where is the baby?
Yeah, what happened to that baby that was up in the attic with Spalding?
That baby disappeared.
Is Spalding still?
Spalding wasn't there. Well, we know why Spalding wasn't there, but they could have had an explanation for it. Well, that upsets me so bad that he's never going to come back to American Horror Story.
Who?
Dennis O'Hare.
He's never coming back.
Dennis O'Hare split badly with Brian Murphy and Brad.
Really?
Hey, he did not get any significant higher pay for Elizabeth Taylor than the other B-list supporting actors got for their roles, and yet he carried that season, and he was really, really, really pissed about it. And then he came on to do Roanoke right after that to just.
That's why he was hardly in Roanoke, wasn't it?
And then he was gone. And then there's an interview somewhere. He made public statements that it was not a pleasant parting.
That's sad because
Gaga didn't have a pleasant parting either. Gaga's left Roanoke really in distress.
But we heard Gaga and Ryan have an amazing relationship, though.
Yeah, Gaga and Ryan do, but there was people on the crew.
Oh, she won a fucking Golden Globe from Ryan. I'm sure she'll work with him again.
No, I don't think she deserved that Golden Globe either.
All right. Well, let me see. Why is resurrection something everyone can do? It seems like Madison.
Yeah,
Zoe, Cordelia.
Wonder, and it's a special thing. Like, and the whole reason that Myrtle thought that Misty was the new Supreme was because she brought her back to life, and she had brought other people back to life. But it seemed like everybody was doing it left and right.
Yeah, my problem is not so much if everybody doing it, was that after the third or fourth person came back, there was no consequences for anybody dying in Coven. It was like, oh, let's just bring him back. It didn't matter.
That's true.
Okay, the whole witch hunter thing, like, what is up with that? Like, they said it was for generations they've been hunting witches and stuff. Like, I thought they would have explained that a little bit more in Apocalypse, but I mean, whatever.
Well, remember, Salem and New Orleans were a huge breeding ground for anti-witchcraft and
And Fiona and Marie went in and basically took out the council of witch hunters.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't really any more left to discuss in Apocalypse.
Oh yeah, for that. But
What did Fiona do to fix Kyle? Like, remember that scene with the dog, and then all of a sudden Kyle became like, what did she do to fix him?
She gave him some magic voodoo. Who knows? She's a spring. She knew whatever the hell she wants.
She had a fucking dog for a hot second. Kyle, I guess he killed the dog, and then all of a sudden Kyle was normal. Like, what?
Maybe Fiona put a curse on the dog's appendix. Do dogs
probably?
Have I don't think dogs have an appendix.
Okay. Now, Cordelia is supposed to be the Supreme, and Supreme has radiant health. Why was she infertile? Was it because Hank was doing something to her? I mean,
what was the final word on Cordelia's being a Baron? Didn't the doctors tell them to continue to try at one point?
I don't know. I mean, that wasn't explained. I guess we were led to believe. We were led to believe that I guess it might have been Hank causing the.
Yeah, maybe, because I thought that there wasn't a definitive answer to it yet. Because there is some conversation, I don't remember because I didn't rewatch it, but there is some conversation somewhere that somebody has with Cordelia saying, well, you don't know that or something, you need to keep trying or some shit. Melinda, where you at? She would know. Didn't she watch all the episodes?
I think we lost Melinda.
I know yeah. But she watched all the episodes, right? We rewatched it. What's that?
I guess we'll wait on Melinda.
Where's she at? Melinda!
We lost her.
Missed call from. Oh no, that's me. Let me message her. Where'd she go? Let me see if she's having computer problems. Maybe she went to the bathroom. Where are you? Hello. Oh,
la la, la la la. But like, yeah, was it revealed that her husband did that? Like, why was that never explained? Like, because that was her main storyline the first several episodes, like her wanting to have a baby.
Correct.
Gonzo was never spoken about again.
Like I said, my whole problem with Coven is the first several episodes were just such a mess. They didn't know what direction they were doing. They didn't know what they were doing. And then the rest of the season followed something different. And that's the only season that was a mess like that in the beginning. All the other seasons are really, really strong in the beginning. No, I'm going to die. Right here on the podcast.
I don't know. I feel like Freak Show was a little slow at first.
It was slow, but it wasn't a mess. It wasn't all over the map. It was just slow. It was
just like character introductions.
Correct. That's why everybody has a hard time with Freak Show, because it wasn't exciting. But Freak Show was necessary for them to build those characters, because that's all Freak Show was about. Freak Show was about the humanity, about each one of those characters. Melinda! Okay, we lost her. She's not answering.
Okay, where does Papa Legba take the innocent souls? Like the babies and Nan, and well, we know where he took Nan.
Yeah, he took Nan down there with her.
But like, what the fuck?
Papa Legba is. I guess there's that's a real thing to the voodoo community. So I'm sure somebody out there would know exactly what the whole underworld is in voodoo speak or whatever. Because every religion has their take on heaven and hell, or life, life and death. And so whatever the voodoo is, whatever he does with that shit, would be it's actual real voodoo crap, not just the show.
Also, fucking Papa Legba liked the fucking crack.
Mm-hmm. Cocaine.
Papa Legba liked crack.
Yep.
Yeah, you look like a
did.
cocaine user.
Cocaine and crack are two different things, first of all.
No, they're not. Crack is burning cocaine, isn't it? Smoking cocaine. Crack cocaine. Isn't it? I don't know. I don't do crack.
Yes, I don't know.
I think it is.
I've always heard cokeheads, and then I've heard crackheads.
Crackhead. Yeah, because coke you snort, it's a powder.
Well, he loved the coke.
And crack you smoke.
He loved
But
the
I think
coke
it's
and so did
cocaine.
Madison. That's another goddamn thing. Okay, he didn't give Fiona a deal because she had no soul. But, okay, her soul is trapped with the X-Men forever, so obviously she does have a
Why
soul.
wasn't that ever answered?
Well, I think that's what he meant by she has no soul. I think he meant her soul is already taken by someone.
See, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
What they were doing. If her soul was already taken by the Axeman, that he owned her soul, then it makes sense why Papa Legba couldn't do that. Because if she just was the absence of a soul, was she just that hateful of a bitch that Papa Legba was like, well, you just don't have a soul.
Well, and you know what? That brings up a good point because maybe she didn't have a soul, and maybe that's why she's trapped with the X-Men.
But she did show remorse.
She brought that baby back.
Yeah, she brought the baby, and with Cordelia.
Yeah,
when Cordelia was hurt, Fiona had some real reactions.
She did, and when she brought that baby back, all the things she said to that mother were the things she wanted to say to Cordelia.
Yeah, so that's a soul that has remorse.
Yeah, so maybe it was just the Axeman, because I believe it. Didn't she say something where she gave her soul to the Axeman?
Yes, she did say that.
Well, yeah, and the Axeman made a deal with Legba to have him be with not Cordelia, but Fiona.
Oh, did he?
I think, yeah. Like, I mean,
I don't remember.
Was Cordelia aware that Delphine was actually LaLaurie? They never really had like any interactions at all, which was weird.
Oh, I think everybody knew that Delphine was LaLaurie.
I don't know.
I don't know either, because
well, they didn't hide the fact that they dug her up. Because when Fiona walk around the house going, "God, we dug this bitch up," just openly talking about it.
Fiona gave Delphine the maid outfit after she had kept her hidden in the room, and she said, "You're the new maid." So, and we never heard her say anything to anybody other than she just became the maid. So she could have just told people she's the new maid.
They could have, but I think the way Fiona was trying to just really put Delphine in her place, really make her feel, because that's another thing about Soul that Fiona had. Fiona couldn't tolerate the racism at all. Fiona had no tolerance for it. And so that's very big for the Soul. So, and I think that's what she was doing with Delphine. She's like, you know what, you racist bitch, I'm going to show you. And she was talking freely around the house about it. So we just may not have seen it on screen that, she told everybody, treat her like a servant,
True.
Because she would not tolerate that racism crap at all.
No, she didn't. And she told her that flat out.
I just thought of something. Why, when Spalding and the X-Men die in the house, okay, they're ghosts. They're in the house. They died there. Yeah, Spalding was a ghost, right?
When I'm confused. When did he die?
Zoe stabbed him. When she gave him his tongue back, and then you're done.
Oh, yeah.
He was a ghost. So when Madison died, like, why was she not a ghost? You see what I'm saying?
I totally get what you're saying. That's how I felt about this whole season.
Maybe because
it's all over the map.
Maybe because she was a witch. Maybe they go to their own special kind of purgatory.
Yeah, that's true. That is what they we saw the apocalypse where they
fucking died in that house. Like Marie Laveau, fucking I know somebody else died in that fucking house. Nan, fucking, like, even Zoe for like a period of time, like when she was impaled, like none of them were ghosts there. Like it's just a fucking.
Well, maybe witches just don't become ghosts.
Yeah.
Well, Queenie did.
She did. Well, it was Queenie was dead, and she was in her
Playing fucking
but,
whatever she was
but
chess or
it was
spades.
Queenie's death. Her ghost was more Queenie's purgatory. Just happened to be in the same location of all these ghosts. And her purgatory had to do with it because she kept playing cards over and over and over and over again. So it was her purgatory. Whereas like March, he can go around the whole damn hotel. They can go down there at the bar for meetings and everything. Whereas Queenie is destined to sit there.
Now,
well, no.
For Queenie, the reason she became a ghost because she was trapped in the hotel. So even if she was a witch and they don't become ghosts, I think being in the hotel itself changes the rules.
Well, no, she can leave like the room with March. She was telling Madison, "Oh my God, there's these annoying ass whatever she was saying people and all ghosts trapped in a like." So I mean, obviously she got to know some of the ghosts there. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think she was just.
Could it be? Because remember, the purgatory is the constant repetition. So could it be that she does like at 8 o'clock in the morning, from 8 to 8:05, she walks the hallway. And then she gets to March's room. Then they play a game of cards. Then they go, make some tea. Then they do this, and then it all repeats the next day. That would still be purgatory because that's that constant repetition.
What do you guys think is worse, playing cards with March or the Chicken Shack?
Chicken Shack, by far. I'd love to hang out with March. He's funny.
The Chicken Shack.
Oh, and I noticed too. The what is the word I'm looking for? The greenhouse, the garden area in Coven looks very eerily similar to the Pokes like garden area in Roanoke, just more run down.
Huh.
Yeah, it does. It does. Because if you're looking where Cordelia stands and those tables are there, and then you look at the overshot of the Polks where Mama Polk comes in and they're sitting right there, it's set up very similar.
Very similar.
Mm-hmm.
I just realized that. Yeah,
love the Polks.
I do too.
Loud American Horror Story.
I love Francis Conroy.
Same.
Mm-hmm. I've loved Francis Conroy since 6 Feet Under. Oh God, my show.
Okay, Madison's task was to find an item belonging to Anna Lee Layton.
Yes.
She found it. It was that cigarette stack.
Yeah, didn't Ryan even say that somewhere? Ryan verified that. Because
that was whenever she smoked and then Fiona slit her throat. So that was something that Ryan
said that when they were doing the Seven Wonders, they wanted to. I think it was on one of the bonus features or something, that they wanted to show that each one of the witches had their own unique pull or draw to the abilities of how they're doing the Seven Wonders. And just because it's not black and white about what they did doesn't mean to say that they couldn't all do all of them at some point.
So then, if Madison would have fucking point blank passed it, would she have became the Supreme?
Probably.
Or would she have not became, and it would have just been Cordelia? That makes no sense.
Yeah, because you know what? What if they don't pass all the do pass all the Seven Wonders, but they're not destined to be the Supreme?
Correct. I think there has to be worth in there. There has to be value.
Well, then that's like a horrible writing point. Like the Seven Wonders is supposed to be like ideally only for the Supreme to pass.
Right. That's true. That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems to me like they would have brought in the
Zoe passed the
warlocks too.
Zoe passed all 7 of them, did she?
I mean, she brought back Kyle. She just didn't bring herself back.
So she could have passed all 7 of them. Cordelia passed all 7 of them. Madison passed all 7 of them. So yeah, there's 3 of them right there. Michael Langdon has all 7 of them.
Yeah.
They're all in the same generation.
What the fuck is up with those warlock tests? Like the controlling the weather and all that shit. Like, why can't can the Supreme not do that? Can Cordelia not do that?
Oh, they're probably those are probably meaningless spells to the witches. Because remember, men are shit in that world.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm. I love the warlock so much.
Okay. Why did Madison's hell change within like an
Queen's
hour?
did as well.
Like a day. Well, like a day. Like I get Queenie's changed because she died at the hotel. But fucking Madison, like, I'm sorry, like day later.
Wait, we don't know Madison's true first hell. She could just have been saying that in front of the girls because she didn't want people to know that her hell was working in a department store.
Right.
Because Madison lies. She could be full shit.
They should have explained that, or at least showed it.
It would have been easy to see it.
Maybe she wasn't there long enough to settle into her purgatory, so it wasn't retail hell yet. Because you hear stories of people who die and pass on, and then they're brought back to life in real life, and they say that they go through these experiences where they're walking like into a bright light or something, and then all of a sudden they're burning and they hear screaming and they're writhing in pain, or they just see darkness and then they wake up or they're brought back to life. So maybe it was something like that where maybe she wasn't quite there yet.
Possibly.
Well, yeah, even then when she first died, like she's like nothing. I saw nothing.
Yes. Right. Yep. Her first thing was it was all black. There was nothing after death. The second one was she was on the Sound of Music or whatever it was, the horrible TV show. And that was basically a dig at Sound of Music, which is so fucking funny. Because Sound of Music came out that previous year, and it was a huge failure, I think, for the first live musical. So that was a dig. Anyway, and then she had her department store. But I think, personally, she's only ever had the department store. But she was trying to make things make her sound more important than she really is.
Yeah, it very well could have been. Because like you said, she does lie a lot.
Zoe's hell was fucking Kyle breaking up with her. Like, get out of here.
Oh,
like,
God.
Really?
Well, how did they love each other like that? How is Kyle?
But he's not in Apocalypse at all, though. Not even a mention.
Exactly.
Not a mention.
Not even a mention. Not even a name. Nothing.
Nope. It's like he never existed.
Nothing.
Nope.
Like, are you kidding me?
He wasn't there.
That was Zoe's like plot line. That was her reason. Like,
yep. Maybe that's why she could have been with Kyle. He was dead. He was a zombie, so she wasn't gonna kill him if they had sex.
what the fuck is up with like? Okay, Marie Laveau and the voodoo and all that shit. Like, am I the only one who's like, okay, what type of powers does she have? Like,
it's voodoo
compared to like the witches. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like she can obviously like transmutate because she like can appear. When Hank had a gun, she appeared like she evaporated and then appeared in the corner. Like, why does she not use that? Also, why? Like, if she wanted the witches dead, like, why not just like why the zombies?
Oh God, don't get me started. I pass. Hard pass.
well, see, the thing is, so they make it look like in some instances they make it look like she's really weak, and then at some point, like she's
two, not just one scene, 2 freaking episodes of it.
Yeah,
they made that bitch look so weak, and then all of a sudden, like she's got all of this power, and then all of a sudden it's back to just being weak.
Who was this? Nan?
Marie Laveau.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think with voodoo is certain enchantments or certain things, chicken bones and whatever that you cast on something to make that particular event happen. and then if you're not casting a thingy on it, then you're not going to seem as powerful because you haven't done the spell, haven't done the cast to it. That's what I understand about voodoo.
Like, also, why didn't she think of this? Like, why did nobody think about, like, with Delphine and Marie Laveau, like, oh, just chop them up in a million pieces and scatter them across? Like, that was Queenie who came up with the concept and told Papa, oh, well, I mean, the deal is off if they can't, obviously you can't do anything for him if your pieces scattered everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, that was just so.
Who were we talking about?
Like, just Delphine and Marie. Like,
oh yeah, but at the end, it was more to have that afterlife scene that they ended up in the same place in the afterlife with Papa Legba, that they could never come back and fuck with the here and now. That's why their bodies were chewed up or whatever. It's stupid. The whole thing's stupid.
Myrtle has the gift of pyrokinesis.
Yeah.
Which was only used in Apocalypse when she burned Barack.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you pissed somebody off enough. Maybe
Myrtle's
she didn't even know she had that power.
Probably
Myrtle's
not.
one of the best characters ever written for American Horror Story, but they truly handled all of her resurrections so poorly, because it's like you're sitting there, you're like so into the story, and then you're like, why is this bitch back again? What the hell?
Well, it didn't make too much sense of why she wanted to die again. Like, I guess she killed the two.
I know. I was like all excited. I was reading that one storyline, that one Jessica Drew, I forget what Earth year it was, storyline, and I was like, yes, we're on here. And then here comes what's her face in the last panel.
Yeah.
Why not? It's just like she said, oh, you became the new Supreme and everything looks peachy and good, so my life's purpose is over with. Like, bitch, I don't know. That was just so unnecessary.
It was cold.
Like, why did she have to die again?
Exactly. It was really cold. It's like, okay, you need her in your establishment, in your life too, because you were scared, you didn't have the answers, you didn't have your mother there, and she was always the big person to give you all the advice and the love and all that. But once it was all said and done, you're like, okay, bye, bitch. Thank you.
Literally.
See ya. You could have left her alive. She was part of your family. She was part of the Coven.
Myrtle could have just burned her fucking self.
She could have. That could have been Myrtle's wish to Cordelia. She could have told her, look, you can't keep doing this to me because it goes against the natural order of things.
Okay. I've been putting this one off. Why the flippin' fuck was it not explained in fucking Coven and Apocalypse? Like, why not just point blank say, Madison, you were a descendant of this famous doctor in LA?
I know.
Why is that still a question?
Because I don't think they want to commit to it yet.
Madison went to the goddamn murder house. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that would have been a perfect fucking way to introduce, like, was it because the guy who played Dr. whatever couldn't make it?
No, because they always had Nora there.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I just don't think Brad and Ryan are ready to commit to it.
But
I don't think they have a storyline behind it.
It had to have been like Dr. Charles's maybe brother or sister's child, because they only had one kid.
Correct. Charles and Nora, yes. So it has to be. Well, would she be? That was the 20s, right? The 20s versus what year was Coven?
13.
13.
So that was 2013. You got to add, they were what, 18, 19 years old at that point in 2013, Madison and them. So 18 from 2013 would give you Madison's birth year. What makes sense to what generation she is of the Montgomerys? Is it third generation? So like her grandfather's brother could have been Charles Montgomery?
Yeah.
But again,
but they
if
were
if
where
they
were
don't
they
have a
from
purpose
though?
for it, if they don't
Weren't
have
they
a
from like
purpose
Rhode
for it,
Island or something?
were they from Massachusetts?
I thought they were from like Rhode Island or
Maybe.
something.
I don't remember. But it's like if there's no storyline to pay it off, it comes off as
Who
what?
was from Rhode Island?
Wasn't that where the
Montgomerys.
Montgomerys were from?
They were from LA.
Well, they
Or-
moved to LA, but where were they from? Like,
Yeah, nobody was
from
from LA back then.
they said they were East Coast socialites.
Socialites. Uh-huh.
It was probably Massachusetts, and it was probably
Boston.
the Boston area.
Mm-hmm.
What is it
Yeah,
with
Boston
the
was
show
the
in
first one.
Boston? Like season 1, that's where the Harmons were. Season 2, fucking
Because
it's in Boston. Season 3,
I'm telling you,
Boston. Season
these-
4, like wasn't that doctor from Boston, the freak show doctor,
Yes.
the nice doctor that
he was
was
from Florida.
he was from Florida.
Yeah,
that's,
Florida.
It was like the freak show together.
Where
But didn't they
Vivian
say wasn't there?
is from?
Well, yeah, but wasn't there a tie-in with Vivian and that doctor from Freak Show?
Yeah, Vivian
Yes.
has family in Florida.
Yes. I think with all these places, these unique places, because I think they've already started to describe them, because they said murder house and hotel was a gateway. It was more than just a haunted hotel. It was an actual portal into the underworld or into death or into to hell or whatever it was. So I think these places where all these things are converging and doing something, I think they have a bigger meaning to everything. Like Boston is going to be some part of it. Maybe the hotel, the house, the different cities, the whatever, they're all like the 7 deadly sins or something, you know, or 7 layers of hell or some shit.
I don't know, but I'm tired of having a season in LA.
Well, it's cheap. You don't have to travel anywhere to film.
Like, let's go back to fucking Florida. Let's go to some
they can use the Universal backlot because they're Universal show. They can use the Universal backlot and make any city they want.
Fuck, like let's go to fucking New Mexico. Let's go to fucking
Why? Good though.
Nebraska, fucking North Dakota, just anywhere. Like, what the fuck? Why LA?
Because it's cheap. Cheap labor.
Is there another murder house connection in Coven besides like the Montgomerys? I thought there was like one more.
I think there is. So let's see. The first stuff that came out merchandise wise from Coven was that like early bird set or whatever. So there was nothing in that. Had to be a Lego item because there's nothing from Marvel Legends that has that. So, but I think it was something that was revealed in the marketing that had a connection. I don't remember.
Well, we know there was a connection with Tate and Sally because I think she was his supplier or dealer or whatever.
Yes.
Oh my god, there was a murder house connection in Coven, and I like completely forgot.
The murder house connection?
Yeah.
Montgomery's.
Well, I mean, besides that.
Did. Oh, good. What's his name?
Constance in the DeLongprise.
Oh, yeah. The DeLongprise.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because she talks about that at the
end. I guess, Constance isn't a witch because that wasn't explained in Apocalypse. So did it skip her generation? Did it go to Addie?
Yes.
Could be.
Not even necessarily Addie. Fucking Tate, fucking any of her children. Do they have any sort of...
Wait, what skipped? Constance wasn't skipped.
I mean, they didn't say she was a witch, so I guess...
But it would make so much sense with a lot of the stuff that she knows and how she knows it, how she knew it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, those are like, yeah.
Fucking Billy Dean knows about witches.
Billy Dean's a fraud.
Well, I get it because it was after Cordelia came out on TV and stuff, but I was just so stupid.
One thing I noticed when I was in the bathroom, I was taking a shower one day, and we have like American Horror Story towel thingies, and I was looking at that, and I was thinking back on all of the marketing and the merchandise for all of that, and they're very, very, very distinct about what they're doing and what they show for that shit. For like these theories and shit. And it's really like, go look at your little toys and stuff that you do. It's like everything that they choose to market, that they choose to do, has a distinct purpose. And you look at those marketing purposes on these plot lines that are going through. They're like little boxes, little structures. It's neat. It's hard to explain, but it's neat.
Wasn't there a merchandise item that had Tate and Madison like together? Like, what was that about?
Didn't that go on Twitter? People were all freaking out about that.
What was all that about?
Happened? Yeah, like I say, is when they do these specific marketings before the show launches, they have very specific reasons that they're putting all this crap into marketing. And when that one came out, and then the show came out, and it had nothing to do with that, they're like, "What the hell was that about? Where was that plot line? Where's that storyline?" I don't know.
I think it was just the whole Evan Peters, Emma Roberts connection.
Probably.
Madison predicted the future,
but they've never done
at
that
the
with
end of
Horror Story. It's always been very distinct about what they're choosing.
I just realized, okay, Madison predicted the fucking future at the end of episode 13, but it was not for the witches; it was for the warlocks. She said verbatim, "When I go to TMZ, it won't be too long before an angry mob with pitchforks and Molotov cocktails come tearing down the walls." That's exactly what happened to Hawthorne when Cordelia came out on TV, and that's why they went underground.
Yep. They said the locals came in.
And didn't that what's his puss? Didn't he say they literally had Molotov cocktails?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe Madison's clairvoyant too.
Maybe.
Literally, and like, did Bubbles have the same power as Nan?
Oh, what the
pretty
fuck
much.
Bubbles? Come on. Why didn't they? Okay, here's where I have a problem with Bubbles. God, we're going to get on Apocalypse because of this shit. Why did they make Bubbles a completely separate character than Joan Collins' first character, who was a Hollywood star as well?
Evie.
Yeah, Evie. Wasn't she part of the Hollywood elite as well?
Yeah.
They could have been the same freaking character.
Was Joan Collins like
Joan Collins?
Was she high when she said she was going to play 3 or 4 characters?
I don't know.
What was she on?
Who knows?
Maybe there was some talk about it at first.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the people thought they were going to play more characters than they ended up playing.
Evan Peters listed off characters he was going to play, and Kyle was on that list.
Exactly. He tweeted that, which makes you think, do they go back like last minute and change things?
I think they were writing Apocalypse on the fly.
No, this is what I will think about. I will say this to the death. I really think Apocalypse was supposed to be a different season, the Radioactive.
Yep.
And then they had to go ahead and do the Witch and Murder House crossover because of the scheduling. So they said, well, we've already written 3 episodes. We're just going to tie it all in.
Shoehorn it all in. Yep.
Yeah.
I really think that. I really do.
It felt exactly like that. It felt either A, it was just being written on the fly, or it was being written by multiple different people who were not communicating with each other, or what you're saying is they had a season in a package and they had to cram everything else in it to make that happen. And why he felt he had to do a crossover season is beyond me. It's like, what did he owe anybody to do a crossover season?
Is it even considered a crossover?
No,
they were only at the Murder House for 1 episode. That's a cameo.
Fan service. That's all it was. It was a big.
It's not a crossover. There was never a thank you to
the fans. That's all it was.
The crossover was only just a little cameo.
Mm-hmm.
They were at the murder house for an episode, but that's not a crossover season.
We've said it 100 times, and we'll say it 1,000 more. It was all fan service. That's all
I
it
don't
was.
give a good goddamn. If they wanted a crossover season, it would have been the witches moving to the murder house. That's a fucking crossover season. They could have just said
good.
They could have
But
just said
the witches are supposed to cleanse the murder house or something.
yes. They could have done that, but also what they should have done is tell the truth. It's going to be a Coven 2, but the first 3 episodes are going to be radioactive, and then it's going to be bam, Coven, and then we're going to have just 1 episode with Murder House. That's not a crossover season. Oh, well, people say, oh, well, because Michael's in it, it's a cross. No, the fuck. It's not. It's not. It was not a crossover season.
No,
I don't care what anybody says.
It was fan
a crossover season would be them living at the murder house for episode 1 to fucking 10. That's a crossover season.
It was a thank you letter to the fans, is all it was.
But wait, it's not even fan service if they take it and go back and it never happened. It's not even fan service then. It's like some stupid X-Men shit. It's like X-Men.
Days of Future Past. I'm trying to piss off about the whole apocalypse because it's like, what did we just sit and watch 9 episodes for? None of it was relevant anymore.
I really think that they had Radioactive as a season idea. They wrote 3 episodes, and then they realized, okay, we can't get everybody back together. This is the time we got to do it. So they scrammed it all in.
You know what's really telling? You know what? I think you're absolutely right with that theory, because you know what's really, really telling about that is the fact that the whole decor and the outfits and stuff of the outposts were like a different show. And why would we as American or as people, modern people who are say we have all the money, right? And we're going to make the outpost. We're going to join with the company and make the outpost. Whose wild brain fart idea is it to say, oh, we'll just everybody in Victorian clothes and then have these distinct colors and stuff? You see what I'm saying? It's like that texture and those costumes and the lighting and all that felt like a very different show from the rest of it.
It did, and it was like we got the backstory of Gallant and stuff. Like it was all just so unnecessary. If the whole season, the whole plot was the witches versus Michael, you know what I mean? Like that has nothing to do with even the bringing Amazon Eve back and all that shit. Like what was the relevance? Like I really think it was supposed to be a season
to reuse actors.
And then I feel like the whole sanctuary thing and all of that was like supposed to be a season idea. Like I really do. I feel like it was going to be it was supposed to be a season, and then they just fucking.
Well,
they didn't want to
the Warlock School could have been a season about like an orphanage season.
They could have done so much with Apocalypse.
Oh yeah.
Why did it have to be the Apocalypse? Because now like there's no chance, pretty much, for a futuristic season.
I know because Apocalypse, the way they did it with Mallory coming back and changing the timeline, isn't that kind
it's still going to happen?
It's still
going to. Yeah, it's still going to happen. It's still so it's inevitable. The world's supposed to end, which is so fucking stupid because like they can do so much shit with futuristic seasons. They can do so much, and
they're going to do the same crap to Endgame.
That's what made me think the show was going to end with season 10 because like okay, well the world's supposed to fucking end in 20 whatever the fuck. Or whenever the little baby of what's those 2 idiots grows up. So like there can't be a futuristic season pretty much if the world's gonna end. You know what I mean? So like that's what made me really think that the show is gonna end. That's what really made me think. But then now they're saying they're gonna possibly make more than 10 seasons. So I'm like, what the fuck? Are they all gonna be in the past?
Many more than 10 seasons is what they said.
Yeah.
Well then, what the fuck? So then they got to go back and kill the little shit that came out of those 2 fucking morons.
Well, they missed an opportunity with those 2 morons because number one, everybody was saying first off that Emily was what's her face's child from Roanoke,
and she was also a fucking bitch too.
Timothy, oh yeah, she was. That Timothy was one of the kids.
Wait, what, Melinda?
Saturday is Amazon Eve's birthday.
Happy birthday, Eve.
Hmm.
That's another goddamn thing.
Timothy was kid.
Fucking Roanoke. Okay, so fucking
The
Scathach.
Roanoke.
She's the original Supreme, right?
Correct.
That bitch has all the power. So what would have happened if that bitch croaked? Would all of her power go to fucking Mallory?
Yeah.
Or Cordelia then, I guess, because Mallory's not the Supreme when she goes back in time because there can't be two Supremes. It's still Cordelia.
Correct.
But then again, at the same token, when Mallory came back, she came back as the Supreme to kill Michael. Or did when she went back in time, did her new Supreme powers go away?
Oh, she drove them all.
Or go back to whatever it was, 70% instead of 100.
You're gonna blow your mind out thinking about.
So can there be two Supremes?
If there's two different timelines,
what's gonna happen? Because the Supreme Mallory became Supreme and went back in time.
It's the same thing.
But she still has her powers.
They do this crap in comic books all the time. They have like multi-universes and multi-platforms and stuff where everything can kind of coexist together. But when it mixes, you get a semblance of chaos. The chaos theory.
So there technically is three Supremes alive: Scathach, fucking Cordelia, and Mallory.
Correct.
So one of the witches is gonna fucking lose all their powers because another one's gonna be sucking it up.
Hey, that'd be a pretty good fucking battle to watch, though. Take your bet.
Battle of the Supremes.
Right.
See, this is why I didn't like Coven. Is because Coven, their history and their facts didn't make any sense for most of the show. It was just like, oh, we have witches. They can do magic. It's very Harry Potter. And they didn't establish a world, around all those rules.
Okay, Marie Laveau told Fiona that the necromancy was taught from voodoo. But didn't Scathach, wasn't she able to perform that? So obviously, where did she learn it from?
Are you sure it was necromancy she performed?
Wasn't that bitch able to do something? Like, she was obviously a fucking Supreme.
I think Scathach, hers was a little different because she made a deal with like darkness and the dark gods, and that's why she ate the heart. I think hers was a little different. I don't think it was necromancy because technically necromancy is voodoo.
Correct. Anything rising from the dead or bringing the dead back to life, that's voodoo.
But she's a Supreme though, so obviously she's past, or she has the ability of all the 7 wonders, right?
Well,
otherwise she wouldn't be a Supreme.
I think what Ryan was saying was she was the first main witch. She was the birth of the witch.
He should have said that she was the first OG Supreme.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So she obviously can pass all the 7 wonders.
Were the 7 wonders even around though? Were they identified at that point?
I don't know that. They called it the 7 wonders. They probably just called it fucking.
I think the 7 wonders was something that was invented later to establish in a coven who was going to be the next rising Supreme for the coven.
Scathach would be about nature and the weather and shit that was around them to explain things versus coming up with the textbook thing,
But like that's so, like, why would he say she's the OG Supreme? Like, what is her powers? And then like she has to have like.
No. Hopefully she'll be back.
I gotta watch Roanoke real closely because and like figure out what the fuck that bitch can do. I mean, she ate a heart, so obviously she has something to do with fucking devilish shit.
She does some incantations and some whispering and some shit.
Yeah, she
But-
fucking blew some fucking cocaine powder in fucking Cricket's face.
Wasn't all that Gaga?
Yeah, that was
What did the real
Gaga.
Stathis do? She was like a band.
The
The
real Scathach was a fucking idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And she fucking all she did was fuck Matt. Like that's the only thing we
Yeah,
saw
so
of her. And
maybe
she
this whole
fed
OG Supreme thing. She wasn't human.
and she fed Lee the heart on camera.
Stathis is an alien.
There we go. That's how they're going to tie it in.
There you go.
That's how everything ties in. It's really all aliens,
It's all
and
about the aliens.
they're creating the 7.
They created the witches.
The 9 circles of hell.
Or it was like Scathach is half alien, half fucking human, and then when she had her bloodline, obviously because she had to have had fucking children, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
And
it's just
much
magic.
like
Sure.
sex. I mean,
So it's gonna be like the witches have alien in them or something.
Who knows?
I don't know. They better explain that.
No, I hope they don't, though. I really do, because I hope they are done with this crossover bullshit and this fan service.
That's the only way we gotta be done with it is if they explain it. They have to.
There's no there in my eyes. There's no problem leaving Asylum how it is, and there's no problem leaving Freak Show how it is.
Because I feel like if they were gonna not bring anything back, we would have saw what happened to Kit. We would have definitively saw like what happened. You know what I mean? Like that's just too big of a question.
But I think both of those seasons end on such a total package note. I think those two seasons have the best season finales, and then they started throwing in all this crap, all this fan service crap about connecting all the things. And I think of all the seasons, I think Asylum and whatchamajigger, Freak Show are going to be the hardest to tie into everything.
Yeah,
and they're going to end up doing something stupid like the witches are half alien.
Right.
I was just trying to figure out why the fuck
they should have always left that show as an anthology series. Exactly where it was the first 3 seasons, up to season 4, till Pepper showed up. Fucking Pepper ruined everything.
Damn you, Pepper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really. Just for that, we got to see the Pepper doll. The Pepper fucking.
Yeah, let me get her.
Let's give Pepper her promotion.
Those things are ugly. Those things are funky. They got big old heads and little bodies. You're not on there.
Why, Pepper? Why?
That's you, Penny. She's ugly. Did you get the other Funko Pops?
Yeah.
The real Funko Pops? I want the Bet Dot one really bad. That's the only one I want.
I want the Elsa Mars with the Ma Petite.
Yeah. That's cute too. She's like holding her. So all
How the fuck are they gonna tie in Scathach though? Like,
they're probably
what powers does that bitch have? And like,
see,
who the fuck is gonna play her? Who's gonna play her?
Yeah, exactly. See, that's the problem with Roanoke. Roanoke's gonna be really tricky when they start trying to tie all this crap in together, and that's why I think Roanoke is going to have the very minimalistic tie-ins, because the whole point of Roanoke was to make fun of reality TV. And they did this very, very successfully. But with all of this, you know, this folklore and this history and stuff, I think it's merely going to be about the land and setting the magic of the land, and that's it. None of these specific characters, not the butcher, not Scathach, not any of this crap is going to have a big thing, because they were all played by 2 people, and you've got half of the people are actors, and the other half of the people are supposed to be the. But
the reason I think they're going to bring Scathach back is because we never saw like a good angle of her, a good shot, like a good anything. We just saw that bitch in the corner creepily.
Well, we saw the behind the scenes thing, what the mask looked like.
Right.
So gross. I feel like they're gonna have like, okay, in Roanoke we had fucking Jane Doe play her, but when they bring her back, it's gonna be fucking. It's gonna wind up being Sarah Paulson or fucking
Emma Roberts. Somebody.
Yeah, somebody.
It'd be cool if it was Lily.
Mm-hmm.
Or that wouldn't that be us? Ain't that bad a bitch? Fucking Lily Rabe's character fucking loves Matt. Meanwhile, he's fucking the other Lily Rabe.
Right. That'd be
cool. I miss Lily Rabe.
It's gonna wind up being fucking Sarah Paulson or fucking. Wouldn't that be crazy if it was like Connie Britton?
No, they'll bring somebody
God,
brand
no.
new in. They'll bring somebody
Lord.
brand new in for it.
I'm so
Or
mad
they
at
just
Britain.
won't do it, or they won't do it at all. They'll just talk about it. They won't do the character.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they're
Or
not. They're
they'll
going to do their
the,
best to avoid
unidentified
characters.
stunt woman again.
Correct. They're going to do their best to avoid characters of Rona, showing them. They can still talk about them.
Well, if they can make Evan
Exactly.
Peters play fucking a million characters, surely they can make somebody play Scavenge.
Yeah. Well, that woman, like you said, that woman's probably still on the team somewhere.
Right. She's
They're
probably
still in contract
still a
somewhere.
stunt woman for the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just throw her back in that ugly shit. Make her run around, whatever she was doing.
But who's? I feel like it's gonna wind up being like Sarah Paulson or fucking.
So long as it's not Gaga, because if it's Gaga and she comes on the scene as beautiful Scavenge, everybody be like, "What the fuck is this nonsense?"
Right.
No, Gaga played the actress.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. It can't be. It can't be Gaga.
We have to get sexy Scathach.
We gotta
My
do the
biggest
real
problem with
sexy
Hotel
Scavenge.
now.
Shout out to Mary Girl Moody.
Yeah, that's right. That's going to be what's his face's t-shirt. We get ours for free. Admins. We were told the other day. I was like, yay. I want to see his art. I hope he does.
I already know I'm getting one. I know I get one.
I know you are. Yeah. I could see him doing the art of just like what Mary had on the end of that video. The sketches coming out like that. I can see him recreating that.
He's already working on it. I've had him working on this image for like a month and a half. I keep sending him little things. I'm like, what about this? What about this? What about this? So
yeah, I've talked to him a couple times. He's really, really nice.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah,
because when he asked to join, I was the one that got his request through our thing, because we get the requests of people wanting to join, and we have to go through them. We have to prove them. And I got called to this thing, and I was like, "Oh, hey, this is one Melinda was talking about." And so I wrote to him, and me and him were corresponding back and forth for a few days. He's super, super, super nice.
Yeah, he is. He's a really nice guy. Really humble too.
Yeah. Getting hot as fucking hell. God, that boy.
Yeah, he is definitely a good-looking man.
He sure is. Oh, never mind.
Well, guys, is that it for Coven? Is that our wrap?
I think that's a wrap. We got to do Freak Show next. I don't know about.
Yay!
Me and Mike are excited for Freak Show.
Freak Show and Roanoke back to back. No, Hotel. Ugh.
Yeah, Hotel's right in the middle there.
Hotel's gonna be like a Coven kind of thing. There's gonna be a lot to go through on Hotel. There's a lot of bad plot holes in Hotel.
Yeah,
a lot of weird timelines, a lot of weird. The whole 7 Deadly Sins thing was just like Coven. I think the whole 7 Deadly Sins thing was kind of shoehorned in there. Into the. They didn't need all those plot lines for Hotel. But that's
one last question, just for my curiosity. Why the flippin' fuck did we not get to see fucking Fiona one last time in Apocalypse? Just one little scene. Yeah.
I thought for sure because they kept talking about the shack, and it didn't look like Misty's swamp shack when they were showing it. So I guess they made it look more Apocalypse-esque.
Yeah, like Misty's shack looked completely different in Coven, and then in Apocalypse,
very different. Yeah.
They had a little porch with chairs that Cordelia and Myrtle.
It looks like the Axeman's shack.
Yeah, correct.
It did.
And that's why everybody thought we were going to see Fiona.
I don't know why. Yeah, they could have done one of them in the shack, but that's really very sad for her character to see that so many years later that she's still waking up from those nightmares and shit. But
what the fuck, Misty?
But if I got Jessica Lange back on my set, and I had her for 12 hours of filming, I'd be like, okay, bitch, you want to do all this crap in 12 hours so that we have all of this footage to decide what the hell we need, after it's all said and done. Because they could have filmed a bunch of scenes with her.
Misty's shack was so fucking tiny in Coven. Do you guys remember how tiny it was? Like you walk in, you turn to the fucking right. There's her bed. There's the Stevie, aka her radio. Then there's the fucking corner with the little tub and something. That's fucking it. In Apocalypse, there was like a corner of a fucking wall of this and that. And fucking like what the fuck? And then they had a nice little porch. Like with lights, like she actually had lights out there. Like, wasn't there a porch light?
Yeah, how the hell do you
Well,
get
what they
wiped out
do
in the middle
sometimes
of
in
the
movies and stuff with sequels is they find a better way to create something, to light something, space on something, and they decide at that moment, you know what, is it worth recreating? This is going to work so much better, and we just let the audience just forget about it. That, you know, there's a lot of crap movies like that. It's like, you know, well, they in the first one, but we're gonna say this in the second one, and everybody just forgot it.
Literally, it's gonzo. Forget about it. Just we're gonna throw in something new, like they had in Apocalypse. The fucking Coven staircase was completely different than how it was in Coven.
Yeah, that's another example, because they didn't have the interior
Well, that was
of the building.
they couldn't they didn't have access to the same set or the same building.
But they could have recreated that lobby. They could absolutely have recreated that lobby.
They could have in no time.
But they chose to do a smaller segment, like just that one wall, that one corner, with a smaller door, because it would save money on filming and on location or on set dressings and stuff. And again, expected the audience just to forget about it, because we saw the outside and said rubber shows, so we were there. We had to, absolutely, accept it.
Here's why I'm excited to do fucking Freak Show. Okay,
because it's the best season.
Freak Show is one of the only seasons so far that we will finally not be able to mention Apocalypse, because Apocalypse didn't fuck up Freak Show's timeline that we know of.
No, somebody will get there.
Yeah, we'll find something.
A Hotel, that final episode of Hotel is completely fucked. The last two episodes actually are completely
a lot
fucked.
of the characters in Hotel are fucked.
Yeah.
Because Queenie not being there is a domino effect.
Yep.
If Queenie doesn't die, the Countess doesn't die. If Countess doesn't die, he doesn't complete the 7 deadly sins. It's a domino effect. But yeah, Freak Show.
The 12 Commandments.
12 Commandments. Yeah, Freak Show. Its whole timeline was before anything was affected by. What I want to know is when we get to Cult. When we get to Cult, this is what I want to know.
Wasn't that a cameo in Freak Show? Like, we didn't see his face, but we were led to believe that Thredson was. So wasn't there something about Thredson that was in Freak Show? Or am I crazy?
Dr. Thredson in Freak Show? No, there was a Dr. Thredson.
Next week. That's for next week.
Yeah, that's next week. Tune in, guys. All right. Peace.